Yo, so man, who we got in the building with us today?
My name is Tate. I am one half of COLLECTEDATL. My business partner is Oyen.
Okay, then. So like, are you grew up in Atlanta or are you from Atlanta?
So I grew up like 20 minutes north from here,
Okay.
but I've lived in Marietta a few times in my life. So
How was it growing up in Marietta?
it was cool, bro. I mean, it's a lot of black people, it's a lot of Hispanic people, it's a lot of white people as well. So
You
you
get
know,
a best of both worlds.
for sure, that's exactly how it was for me growing up, bro.
So so were you always into fashion as like a kid during that time?
Yeah, for sure. Cause
And having both of best of both worlds kind of just mixed everything from different cultures together, huh? Or
Yeah, and like I would say it just started with my parents. Like my dad, he's always worn designer, like
mhm.
high end stuff, and my mom always wore like just thrifted stuff and lower end stuff, but she always had a great sense of style. So that's how I kind of incorporated my style. Like
Mhm.
I like the high end stuff from time to time, but I'm cool with just wearing regular stuff too and just more about the style.
Okay. So who inspired you to get into the fashion or
My parents and my older brothers, bro. Like I grew up with three older brothers, and my oldest brother, man, he was the one that turned me on to Bape, bro. Like in the
yeah,
early 2000s,
yeah.
and I was only a little kid at the time. I couldn't really wear it because they didn't have kids clothing at the time.
Mhm.
But that always stuck in my mind, and like he was dyeing his hair blonde and stuff like
Yeah.
that, and he was skateboarding and he had tattoos in the early 2000s. So he was um, he was an outcast growing up. So I
Yeah.
was really inspired by him.
Okay, so with Bape is a dope brand. Like, what's some of your favorite like brands and collective items?
I would say, just like my partner, he's a Polo Ralph Lauren collector.
Mhm.
Ralph Lauren's always been one of my favorite brands, bro. Cause like I said, like I grew up in the suburbs, so
Yeah.
like I had my homeboys that were like wearing jabots and like shit like that. But then I had my white friends that were wearing Polo Ralph Lauren, and my pops was wearing Polo Ralph Lauren. So we would always like pull up at Bloomingdale's
Yeah.
at like Lennox, or we would pull up at the Ralph Lauren store at North Point Mall in Alpharetta.
Yeah.
So I kind of got into it pretty early, bro.
Okay. Yeah. So with getting into it early and now that you're older, when did you realize that okay, I like wearing fashion and I'm into fashion? When did you realize you can make money and profit off of it? Something that you love and enjoy to do for free.
At 16,
16.
yeah, because I was playing basketball, and like, you know how that goes. Like, when you're playing sports, you can be, just really consumed by that because all your time is put into that. But like, whenever, like I had like some extra free time,
Mhm.
I would just ask my pops for like a little bit of money to like fly me out to like New York, and I
Yeah.
would just hang out in Soho, and I would just go shopping out there. And I told him like when I came back, I was just like, yo, when I'm done bouncing the basketball, this is what I want to do. Like, I want to
Yeah.
open up a clothing store. And like all of my classmates and like all of my peers, they always just encourage me to be in this world because I always dress kind of unique, I guess.
So how was it having enough courage to be okay? This is my style and this is how I dress. Being kind of an outcast.
I mean, bro, at first it was a conflict because like growing up here, it's a little bit slower paced,
Yeah,
and like not trying to be too negative, but we're in the Bible Belt, so it can
yeah,
be a little closed minded.
yeah,
So like with my family being from Los Angeles, I remember taking trips out there as a youth, and like when I would go out there, bro, like the vibe was just completely different, and like that was when I like really just kind of accepted it. I accepted it at like 8 years old in 2001. That was when I knew like, yo, like I know I'm different, and I know like this is what I want to be on.
yeah. So with those experiences, being in Soho and Los Angeles and even Atlanta, what's some of the differences between them? Because everyone have their own kind of different style of streetwear and vintage style. Did you just kind of combine all of those with having what you liked as a kid and kind of mixed it into what you do now?
I mean, I guess you could say that, but like I said, like I don't want to say I was inspired. My style wasn't inspired by these cities.
Okay.
I like the cultures
Yeah,
of the
culture.
cities more. It wasn't so much like the style of it. My style came from my family. It
Yeah.
came from my pops. It came from my mom. It came from my older brother. So, you know, like, I just remember, bro, like, my brothers used to buy me every pair of Jordans that I wanted as a kid. So, like, I would just do weird stuff. Like, I would throw on, like, thrifted church pants with like, some
Jordan.
Columbia 11s.
Yeah.
And, you know, a lot of people would be like, man, like, I wouldn't wear that, but
Yeah.
it just kind of works for you. Like,
Yeah.
so I just kind of, that's how I formulated it. I kind of just learned, like, yo, like, I know I'm different.
Mm-hmm.
So even when it comes to the clothes, I'm going to just be comfortable being different, I guess.
And I would say nowadays it's like embraced to be different and wear everything, because now you see what was once underground is at the highest level now with certain rappers like Travis Scott, Kanye, just bringing their own style that would be outcasted years ago.
They got
now it's
amazing style.
Yeah, that's super popular. What's some hip hop artists that influence you?
Man, I mean, you named two of them already.
Yeah.
Kanye for sure. Cudi's probably my favorite as far as like his style, because he wears man, he wears a little bit of everything.
Mhm.
Like he'll throw on a tight shirt from the 70s.
Yeah.
He'll throw on some Converse, but he can also throw on like the Cactus Plant. Pharrell's my number one inspiration.
Yeah, for real.
That was like, Pharrell was my number one because like when I would go to New York, like I would be going to like the Bape store and I would be at the BBC store.
Mhm.
So like, I've been watching his process for so long, and like Pharrell was different, bro. Like with him being from Virginia, he came up in the rap game and he was one of the few producers / artists that was not only making rap records, he was making pop records too, and his style just kind of like bled into that. He was always unique. He was always different. He looked different.
Yeah.
And yeah, like I would say Pharrell's my number one for sure.
Yeah, so with rappers making and pushing certain brands to the forefront, how do you feel about like maybe our culture making these brands super hot, and maybe some brands will work with them and maybe they wouldn't? Would you be open to work with a brand? Maybe if a Bape or somebody hit you up to collab, are you down to do that? Or
Bro, that would be a dream come true. I mean, the feeling that I would probably get from that is probably the same feeling that Travis got when he linked with Cudi.
yeah,
It's like, man, like the idol, the guy that you look up to and inspired by is wanting to do business with you. Like that would be big time. So I would definitely be, open to that.
yeah, that would be super dope. And so how do you feel sports in hip hop specifically impact the fashion world and what's trendy and what's not, and how do you feel about hype beasts? How do you feel about that?